Welcome, everyone, back to another exciting edition of Goal Line Crossers. Yes, I said it right. I see your face. I said it right. So, Goal Line Crossers, this is what, first and four right
Okay,
now, right?
we've gotten some feedback that the
Oh,
naming convention is not great, but I feel like I have to stick with it now. I feel like I'm
yeah,
just gonna power through.
you are pot committed, as the poker players would say. You have become pot committed, so we are sticking with it. But yeah, I received some additional feedback as well from some folks who listened. So first and foremost, welcome everyone. Andrew Fry, your host, with his lovely wife.
Stacy Fry, and we're on video this time.
Oh no, I didn't do my hair, although I did get a nice trim, which is why I'm called Andrew the Pretty One Fry. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, so we do have 5 followers on our Instagram now, so
Oh,
maybe we can officially do a poll.
I love it. We do need
And
a
four of them are my girlfriends.
That's fine. Look, there, and so we all know that if the poll is you versus me, I'm gonna lose. Like, let's just be real here. But we'll put a poll up. We'll have to. We'll put a poll up probably after this next at some point in this episode. We'll come up with something and we'll throw a poll up there. So real quick before we get started, what is the Instagram again? What are our social?
At Goal Line Crossers on Instagram and TikTok, and we'll have to post our YouTube link there, I guess. I don't know. I'm figuring this out day by day.
No, understood. I didn't even know we had a YouTube link, so I think that's you're one step ahead of me on that one. But look forward to it.
What
So
else is new?
agreed. There's just so much going on in my head with all the different thoughts, just mentally taxing these days being me. So nice face. Okay, so let's start with sort of a recap of last week. So we picked two games, right? And so currently I think we're both 1-1. And then this week happened. And so you went against your team and went with your head, not your heart, and you won because the
Yeah, so I
Packers
guess it worked out. Yeah.
busted the Saints. And so what's your record? You're what, 2-1 right now, right?
I'm 2-1, which means I am beating you.
Yes, because spoiler alert, I lost. I, for whatever reason, thought the Jaguars might actually win. I forgot that the Steelers were playing Kenny Pickett all the way to like the third or fourth quarter, and they were winning. And then the Steelers decided to score late points and take the lead by one. So so I'm 1-2. I hate preseason football. Can't wait for regular season football because there is zero chance that you beat me when that point comes. So and we can put a bet on that, by the way, if we want to.
Sneakers.
What sneakers?
Yeah.
What kind of sneakers?
Oh, that's right. Because we did attend an event last Friday where you made a rather substantial purchase of a
Wait. What was the event? Like, let's give some pub to the event.
Okay. So Juice and John's was hosted by a sneaker shop down in our area, John's on Fire in Harrisburg, PA.
John, JAWNS, which is very much a Philly word if anybody is from
totally
the
a Philly
area.
thing.
John's on Fire. Look them up.
So,
I think they got social media too.
They do. It benefited Live Like Bree. It's a pediatric cancer foundation. Brian Dean is the owner of John's on Fire. He lost his daughter to pediatric cancer a few years ago and really does this in memory of her and to celebrate her. And it was a great event, but it did hurt our pocket a little bit.
Yeah, you went a little nuts. I don't know what happened, but you purchased. You handed the credit card. You stood in line. You went nuts.
Okay, I bought myself one pair of Jordans, which are my thing. I went a little outside my box. I got a pair of Jordan 3s. I'm normally a Jordan 1 girl, but you decided to purchase the Yeezy Turtle Doves, which are not cheap.
I didn't know that. I didn't know what I was buying. I put them on. They were like sticking my foot in a pillow and walking around. It was so comfortable that I said I wanted them.
You could have bought a pair of New Balance. They're very comfortable sneakers, I hear.
Ask my dad. All right. He'll tell you that they're very comfortable. I am not willing to enter my dad's life or world right now. So very much I'm sticking with the Yeezys. I just didn't like, I never thought I'd own a Yeezy in my life. And I listened to a couple guys. I listened to Lou, who was there. Shout out to Lou. And Brian, owner of the store, was like, look, you gotta try them. And it was. So I am a person here to tell you that Yeezys are comfortable, especially if you're a bigger person. Um, I just didn't know how expensive they were. So yeah,
Well,
sorry.
lesson
Little
learned.
off
I
track.
asked for it. I've been asking for you to be a sneakerhead for a long time. You dove right in with both feet, and here we are. So
Yeah, so if anybody
anyway,
wants to buy a pair of turtle doves, let me know. Hit me up on social because I'll sell them because I have buyer's remorse already. Either way, so yeah, so fine. We'll put sneakers on it. Let's just bring it all the way back to where how we originally got there. Okay. So we'll put a pair of sneakers on it. That's fine. We got no. I will handle that. So you will purchase me a
deal.
pair of sneakers, and or I will purchase you a pair of sneakers. At the point that this season is over, done.
Deal.
And so really quickly, and we talked about this last week a little bit off air. Ooh, that was cool to say off air. So we talked about this a little bit off air. So let's turn the pick'em when regular season starts, right? So we've got one more week. Let's turn it into like a survivor pick'em too.
Mhm.
That way you can only pick, for those of you who don't know the rules, survivor pick'em, you can only use a team once during a season. And if you win or lose, you're out. So basically, we could both be out week 1, we could both be out week 2, what have you. So you can only use a team once. So we'll do survivor pick'em, and we'll see how.
And is it just whoever lasts the longest?
Correct.
Okay.
So the first week that we lose, series is over, and we can pick it up again. But then we know
Okay.
who wins the Jordans or
Okay.
shoes, because mine
Or
might be.
Yeezys.
Yeah, look, they're comfortable. I like
Okay.
walking
All right.
around
I'm
with
in.
pillows on my feet. All right,
Oh,
good
yeah,
deal.
yeah.
All right, so we so recap, you're 2-1, I'm 1-2. We have one more week for preseason as a warm-up, and then we'll start the survivor in the regular season. And so I think now I think we're gonna switch it up a little bit this week. And so I think we'll move now towards the women in football segment, and we'll all get a little more educated, because as of right now, you have stumped me each week. So I look forward to this and continue to educate others as I learn from you. So take it away.
Yeah, so I don't know. I know you're familiar with this woman. It was the first name you brought up when we decided to do this segment. I was not familiar with her. So I did a little bit of research. And the reason I picked her was because I really wanted to find a woman that wasn't connected to an NFL organization because of their dad or because of their husband, right? There's a lot of influential women in the NFL that happened into that position because their husband owned the team and they got involved, or their father was the owner and they got involved. So Amy Trask, that's not the case. The last 2 women I've done, I've started with a nickname, so I'm going to continue that. They're not always great. She takes this one as a compliment. I'm thinking it goes with the theme of the Raiders maybe, but she's known as the Princess of Darkness, which makes me think of Ozzy Osbourne a little bit, but she loves the name. She owns it. She grew up in Brentwood, which is a beautiful area of Los Angeles, graduated from Berkeley in 1982, which is the same year that the Raiders moved to LA. She began law school that same year and began an internship with the Raiders. And after her internship was completed, she worked for an LA law firm for a few years and then came back to the Raiders in 87, eventually being appointed as the CEO, first female CEO in the NFL in 1997. She served in that position until she resigned in 2013. So a quote that she gave to a journalist that I love was, and as a professional woman, I love this. She said, "I never spent one moment thinking about my gender. I just did my job," which sometimes I think as women, society gives us the excuses to say, like, we're treated differently because we're a woman, or he did that because I'm a woman. And I love that that was never a consideration in her role. She also shared her favorite memory, which was about a meeting with the Raiders owner, Al Davis. And he walked in and there was a bunch of businessmen there and one other businesswoman. And he walks around, he shakes everybody's hand, and he says to this other woman, "I try very hard not to swear in front of women." And Amy looked around and was like, "Did he just say that?" And he said it again, "I try very hard not to swear in front of women, but sometimes I slip." And she's still looking around like, is he really saying this? And she kind of gets flustered and her pen flies out of her hand. And he looks over at her and he sees her face and says, "Oh, Amy, I swear at Amy, but I don't consider her a woman." And some women would probably be offended by that, but Trask really loved it. She took that as the biggest compliment because she felt like that's what we all as women want in the workplace, is to be evaluated on our merits and not in regards to a race or a gender or ethnicity, things like that. So I thought that was a fun story. She really owns being just another one of the guys, right? She loves that mentality and really, really lives up to it. So like I said, she left the Raiders a few years ago. Today, she serves as an analyst for CBS Sports and as chairman of the board for the Big Three Professional Basketball League. So another ceiling breaker, Amy Trask. So thank you for sharing her with me.
You're wrong. She is a great follow on Twitter, and again, a lot of respected people in the industry will quote her, will comment on her. Like, just she is the utmost respect within the NFL circle, which is awesome to see. And for as much as people think Al Davis was crazy, like, Al Davis was a really good owner when it comes to progression, right? And progressive rights for other people. So between Art Shell as a head coach and Flores and Amy Trask, Al Davis, for all of his quirks, was overall, it seems like a pretty good dude. I mean, I don't know him personally, obviously, but but he seemed to do a lot for other people with regards to that and in the career. So that's really cool. So yeah, and again, even though I knew who she was and I kind of, as mentioned, brought her to you, it still learned some different those quotes. I had never heard them before. I did hear the story before. She had tweeted about that. So
do you know, I don't know, and I didn't come across this in my research. Why did she leave the Raiders? Why did she resign from that position?
My understanding was just time, because from my understanding, it was just, I would say burnout. You hear often that the NFL is a grind, and it doesn't matter what position you're in the organization, it's a grind. And so much like Sean Payton, right? He just needed time off. My understanding is that was similar here. Now, also Al Davis was towards the end of his career, life actually, and so his son was taking over. Maybe there was something there, but everything I understand
nothing
was
major
around the grind. Yeah.
All right. So that's who we did this week.
So I look forward to next week. So
I know,
again,
eventually this series, it's sad, but it's going to run out.
Yeah, no, and I've got a couple ideas for some additional items, but I may float you a name or two for some folks. Maybe even we could get a celebrity call in for one of our evenings, right? So we'll see. Maybe we could do an actual interview for a woman in the NFL. So I'm working on it. So, but now we're going to move to the previews, right? So I quizzed you last week on the AFC East. You did better than you did in the North and the South.
Kind of. You floated me one.
Yeah, still not great. I still kind of helped you.
Yeah.
But we'll start there. So we're going to go last to first or whatever, like we have been. East has been dominated by the Patriots, right? And so, but you've got some cellar dwellers in there as well. So I'll be curious to see where you potentially land, compared to me with this division. So we're going to start with a perennial cellar dweller, the Jets. I don't know how you can. I see your face.
I know.
Shout out to your dad. Shout out to your sister. They stink.
Well, my sister even dumped them. She went to the Eagles.
Oh, I forgot. She joined her husband. What a horrible decision that was. As long as she doesn't get a tattoo like him, then we're safe. Okay, I'm good with that. But no, so the Jets. I mean, just if you look at the division, it's an easy choice. Zach Wilson in the second year, they already got hit by the injury bug with Mekhi Becton going down. Like I think they'll be better. I think they'll improve this year, but there's just a lot of talent ahead of them. So they're number 4.
I agree. I think from our first episode, I think they're going to be first in uniforms.
Yeah, yeah,
But
correct. Agreed. You thought their uniform, their alternates
Yep.
are awesome, but
yeah, I said look good,
that's
play
not
good,
it.
but I actually don't believe that. I agree they're going to be in fourth. Same thing you said, a lot of pressure on Zach Wilson, but he's got that preseason injury. Their schedule grades as the sixth toughest in the NFL. So my prediction is 6 wins and a last place finish in their division.
So the reason that it grades as the sixth hardest is because their division is also pretty hard, right? Like when you are the worst team in the division, that means every game, six games, you are you're going to be the underdog. So that hurts your division or your schedule ranking right off the bat. So this is where it gets interesting because now you, in my opinion, you have a clear number one, and then 2 and 3 could be different. So I'm actually going to bet
Wait,
again.
should we say it on the count of 3?
Ooh, yeah, but are you actually going to say 3?
I'm going to say who I have in 3.
Are you going to point at me? Like, how are we
Oh
going to
my
do
gosh.
this?
Let's say our third place pick on the count of 3.
Okay.
Okay, ready? 1,
One.
2, 3. Patriots.
Ah,
Oh,
right.
oh, I was happy that
I know. No, I wasn't. I would have been. I would have been different. No, I feel like the public and everybody else is just going to believe in Belichick, but and look, people may tell me I'm crazy, and people may use social media to remind me that I'm an idiot later on. But I think that the Patriots are lacking in talent compared to the other teams. I think that they don't have an offensive coordinator, which is going to hurt them. And Mac Jones has had a rough camp. Now, people are saying that Belichick tries things in camp, and when the regular season comes, they'll be fine. But I think they have holes, and I think that because of that, the other team will be better.
I agree with you. You matched up pretty much all the notes that I had, right? On paper, they're like the least talented team. Some people think that Belichick can work miracles with everybody. I loved his interview the other week when they asked him who was running the offense, and he basically was like, "Shut up, I'm in charge. It's not your business."
Me.
Yeah.
Thanks, Belichick.
But they do have a tough schedule. They've got some holes on the offensive line. So I agree with you in the third place spot.
Which I think then we're probably consistent throughout because number 2 is the Dolphins. And so and the Dolphins are really talented. Like if Tua can put it together with Tyreek Hill and Gesicki might get traded, but they were very talented last year with a very dysfunctional coaching staff, and now they bring in one of the brightest offensive minds, as well as additional talent, Chase Edmonds and others to potentially run the ball. I really like what the Dolphins have done. And I think with the coaching change, that's that spark this year that's going to just allow them to be more consistent, which is where I think they would overtake the Patriots.
There's another addition to that team that you're leaving out. Armstead.
Oh, that's to your point. Teron Armstead as a tackle for solidifying the offensive line. No arguments. I would argue. I mean, I think that's probably as or more important than Edmonds and maybe even Hill as well, just to give Tua time. So no, I would agree with you.
Yeah, so everything else, totally agree. They do have a tough start to their season, and I think as long as the Bills stay healthy, that the Dolphins will fall into that number 2 spot.
Yeah, agree. I think, look, if Josh Allen goes down, all bets are off, right? The Dolphins likely could finish in first. But to segue to number 1, if the Bills stay healthy, they are by far the best team in the East. In fact, they may be the best team in the AFC. They're 1 or 2. And talent-wise are probably 1. I would say they're even more talented than the Chiefs and other teams. They just have a plethora of weapons and defensive stalwarts. Like both their safeties were listed, and I know this whole listing of the top 100 players in the NFL is kind of bogus. Both their safeties were listed in the top 30. Like that's disgusting. Not to mention the other players they have on the team, getting Von Miller, like they are loaded. So as long as they stay healthy, 100%, they may be they should be the number 1 seed in the AFC.
I agree with you. I think for them, it's Super Bowl or bust for them. Like, I think that has to be the ultimate goal. And I think it's a really realistic one for them. So Agree.
which is why if I have a chance to go see the Kansas City Bills game in Kansas City, I'm gonna go.
Okay, we'll get some barbecue.
There you go. Even better. So now, so with that said, we're gonna, let's talk about some top news stories of the week or day or what have you. So I'll let you start because I think you have one that is a burning in your mind, so to speak.
It's just bothering me.
That you really what was that?
It's just bothering me.
Yeah, I wanna hear this because I feel like you are not happy, and I like that. You get really feisty when you're not
I
happy.
do.
I hate it when you're not happy with me because I hate the feistiness towards me. But when it's other people, I'm all about it. Like, let's hear it.
Well, very briefly, I do have to bring in a non-football piece of news because we talked about it last week. Love is Blind. There was 2 couples that got married. Ayanna and Jarrett filed for divorce last week. Danielle and Nick also bit the dust this week. So no couples left from Love is Blind for all of you inquiring minds. That being said,
So love is not really blind, is really what you're telling me.
correct. So
Okay.
where was Tom Brady? Where did he go?
Do you
And
do
is
you
it
know the
okay?
rumor? Do you know the rumor?
The Masked Singer is the
Yeah.
rumor I read.
Yeah.
So that irritates me even more because okay, I'm getting fired up. I'm getting angry about
You
this.
are. If people could see you, you're like getting red.
They
You're
can
getting so
see me.
angry.
So already Tom Brady gets on my nerves because he gave, we had like one shot at a Super Bowl that one year with Drew Brees, and then Tom Brady has to come into our division and just really piss me off. Okay. So I'm already irritated with Tom Brady. He's probably the GOAT. Okay. Like I hate to say it, but he probably is. So does that give him
Probably.
I like to think it's Drew Brees, right? I like to think that in my heart, but when you play until you're 75 years old, you're going to break everybody's record. So we're 45,
Man, you are
whatever,
a
same.
hater. You are a hater.
So does that though give him the freedom to just take a little break? It kind of does. I think it kind of does. Like if you're looking at a sales organization and you have the top producer, doesn't that guy get a little, or girl, get a little extra leeway because they're the producer? I think it does. I hate to say it, but I think it does.
So
What do you think? Whether it's Masked Singer or not. Here's my other thing before you give me your thoughts. He retired, right? I think of it as you left a job and then you come back to the job and you're like, I'll come back, but hey, I already have this vacation planned for this week. Is that cool if I miss that week? And the Bucks are like, yeah, you're Tom Brady. It's cool. Like, we just want you to play. I don't know.
So
What do you
first of all,
think?
that very much could have happened, and you're right. The Bucks are going to be like, "Yep, we're good. Not a problem, Tom. You can take 2 weeks, no issues whatsoever." 2, he's not playing in any of the preseason games, so who cares? And as long as he doesn't come back injured, do we really think Tom Brady's not going to be ready for the regular season? No,
No,
he
I
came back
don't think
now
that's the
knowing
point.
that exactly. No. So I guess my point is, if he doesn't need the time, there are people who legitimately hold out or don't sign, tenders or don't sign, contracts. They will legitimately just to miss training camp because they don't need the time.
We know that's not the case with Tom Brady, right? We all know that Tom Brady doesn't need to go to training camp, but does he owe it to his team to be there?
The team won't care if he is. The team will care. The team would care if he wasn't there week 1. The team doesn't care that he's not there now.
You don't think there's some sour?
I think you
No?
are taking your corporate life and infusing it into a locker room where they know it is all about
Disagree.
business. Nope, 100%, because they know this doesn't matter. If he shows up
Okay.
week 1 and throws 5 picks, okay, yeah, there might be some
You
comments.
were mad at me 2 weeks ago when we went to the beach and Drew, our son, missed a practice for Smurfs because it's not fair to the team. The team didn't care if he was there. Those 7-year-olds did not care that Drew was not there. It applies both ways. In a team, I think a team is a team. I think you
Right.
have to be there. Does he owe the team an explanation?
You said the 7-year-olds didn't care.
But what I'm saying is, I think that they do care. You're saying they don't care, but I think they do care. Like, if there was a kid at practice and he's at every single practice, I know this doesn't apply to Tom Brady because Tom Brady, he's going to start. Okay. It's not a Smurf game. All I'm saying is, I think the team deserves something, an explanation. No, you just agree? I don't know. I think it's just kind of shitty.
We are assuming that the team didn't have an explanation.
Right. Do you think he got one? That was going to be my next
Yes.
question. Do you think you do?
100%.
Okay. And they're just being quiet about it?
Yes. Yes. Look, I'm not saying that he gave them all of the details, but I'm sure he told them
Like which character he was?
Yeah, whatever. If that's what it was, sure. But I also will tell you that he probably signed that deal while he was retired and did exactly what you said. It said, look, I'm going to come back, but I signed this deal. We're filming. It's during the preseason. I'm going to be out 10 days. And they were like,
I also don't love his approach either. Like, he knows everyone's talking about this. And instead of addressing it, he just posts, hey guys, here's my underwear, like on his social. Maybe that's a strategy. I don't know. I'm just not in love with it. Okay. If it was Drew Brees, it'd be fine.
I was going to say, I will go back to, you are a hater, and it's because it's Tom Brady. Like,
probably.
That's legitimately what I feel like 90% of this is at this point.
Probably. That's all I have to say about him.
Well, I mean, you've said a lot, so that's all. Anything else that you'd like to throw in there?
No.
Okay.
That's it. I want to move on to Jon Gruden.
Hold on. You do know that Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback to come out of like your favorite college football team. So like it's a lot of hate for a guy that you should love.
So back to when my sister switched teams for her husband, I did the same for you. We just finished making tuition payments or student loan payments to Penn State for my college, and I switched to Michigan for you.
There was also a guy named Jerry Sandusky in there, which helped in that decision. Let's be real.
Okay, that's also true. What do you have?
So, all right. So, two things. One, I really am curious. I know you do a lot of like outside the NFL stuff when you do pop culture, and so I'm gonna throw one at you there too. Oh,
now I'm nervous.
What's that face?
Now I'm nervous.
Okay, so they have renewed a certain show that you and I watched during COVID, and I was curious if you're gonna want to watch it, and also I don't know if anybody knows that they renewed the show, but apparently it's the same actors, it's going to have the same subtitles, and it's going to be. And the show is called.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember it. It's the Korean one.
Yeah, Squid Game. So question from the news: Are you going to be willing to watch it with me?
Yeah. Well, it kind of jumped the shark at the end. I was like, what is happening?
You didn't like it at the end, so that's why I was curious if you would actually.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it because I'm invested. I feel like I'm gonna finish it out. The acting is horrendous, but I'm gonna watch it. So, did it film already?
No, my understanding is that they are starting filming, which is why it sort of like made it into the news.
I hope they took some acting classes.
Yeah, we'll see. It's the same people, from what I understand. Everything I understand, it's all the same people. So
the ones that died.
Well,
spoiler alert.
Obviously. All right. So the other thing from a breaking news today, if I said to you Shaquem Griffin, do you know who that is?
Yes, I do.
Oh, look at you being all researchy and stuff. So who is Shaquem Griffin?
So the Seahawks, right? He's retiring. One hand, no left hand. It might be.
Yes, I literally just had to like. No, it's the left hand.
Yeah, and his brother also plays on the team.
Correct, twin brother.
Yeah. So yeah, I actually just read about that today as well.
Look at you during your research. Yeah,
I know.
So
it's amazing how much I can do in a day.
It is, because you're obviously not that busy at work. Shout out to Julie. So Shaquem Griffin, first player ever in the NFL to play with one hand, retires this year. if you want to see some amazing athleticism, like watch his draft combine. I mean, for a guy that obviously has a physical handicap compared to his peers, just destroyed the combine and showed that it didn't matter. And what's crazy is that the parents made the decision. Like, do you know any of the background
I
story?
thought it was congenital. I thought he was born
It-
that way.
Nope. So the parents made the decision to have the surgery to remove his hand because he
Oh.
woke up at a young age. I don't know the age, maybe 5, maybe younger, but he woke up and he had a nerve disorder, and he was waking up that his hand was just like on fire, and it was like he was like constantly in pain. And so the parents just made the decision to remove it at a young age. So as a parent, or we are both parents, like that's a tough decision to make, but obviously the right one. And he turned it into just this amazing story. And he and his brother got to play in the NFL on the same team. And I remember
Yeah.
when the Seahawks drafted him, because his brother came out the year before. So his brother was already on the team. And when he came out, the Seahawks drafted, everybody's like, oh, it's a charity case, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, he got sacks in the preseason. He played for 4 years. He contributed on special teams. Like he was,
He
he
sacked
earned his
Aaron
spot.
Rodgers, I read.
Yeah. So I mean, he earned his spot. So yeah, kudos to him. Shout out to Queen if you want to come on the show. Love to interview you. I feel like I do that every week and no one ever responds. But I'll keep shooting. I'll shooting for the stars. But no, I think again, if you want a nice story, and honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if it doesn't turn into some movie that ends up on Netflix or the big screen, because it's a really cool story for
Yes.
Shaquem Griffin that I feel like any kid with any sort of I would say disability, you just talk about him and say, look, you can do it too, because it's really cool. So
Love that.
yeah.
I love that I knew it.
I agree. Again, I will be honest, I'm shocked. And so I think next week we're going to do a little bit of quiz. I actually started it today, but because unlike you, I got busy at work. And so I was unable to finish my quiz for you. So we'll do a little tease for next week, but I'm going to have a quiz for Stacy. So we'll see how you do on that one.
Well, speaking of next week, we're going to have a busy next week. We're going to cover 2 NFC divisions next week, right?
Yeah. Yep. So we got to catch up. So I think we should take a few minutes and just see if you actually know who's in the NFC. So, you're looking at a screen and you're playing with a mouse. You're going to cheat. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing
Well,
it.
I know the East and the South.
That's fine. I know you're cheating because I know you're looking at ESPN.
I'm looking at my notes for my Pick'em game.
Right.
I'm not looking at ESPN.
Okay. All right. So what 2 divisions do we want to do?
Well, let's do ours. Let's do the East and the South.
Okay. We can do that. So we'll do the East and the South next week. Again, I think you know all those, so I'm not even going to quiz you on that. And then we'll also do the news, and I have a little quiz for you. So I look forward to that one as well.
Great. I can't wait. All right. So let's wrap up today. We went a little longer than I hoped. You were very chatty today.
Well, I'm not the one who talked about Tom Brady for a good 15 minutes, because for someone who doesn't like him, you sure as heck have a crush on him, it seems like.
I mean,
the man's a glow up. If there was ever a definition for glow up, it's Tom Brady.
That is my favorite, it's multiple side by sides. The picture every year of him, from like the combine to today. I'm like,
look, I love
what is he eating?
I love the combine picture of him in just like his boxer shorts or like
dad bod.
Yeah, and then like the pictures of him now like on the beach throwing. I love that comparison.
It's amazing.
So yeah, hey.
It's amazing. So all right, we're coming up on our last preseason games. So last pick 'em before we move to, what's it called? What kind of pick 'em are we doing?
Well, Survivor.
Survivor. Okay. All right. Do you want to go first? You want to pick your game first?
No, you can. Wait, do you need me to help you with? Do you need me to help you with what is, with what the plus and minus means again?
I'm not even going to talk about the spread. I'm not going to talk about that today.
Okay.
No, and just so we're all clear, I'm 2-1. And what was your record? I can't remember. Something less than 2.
I am 1 and 2.
Okay, so do you want me to help you with your pick or?
Touche.
Okay. All right, I'll go first. I hope we didn't pick the same game, or maybe I do. All right, I'm picking the Super Bowl rematch, Rams Bengals. They play Saturday at 6 in Cincinnati. So not a true rematch there, right? Don't they play in Cincinnati?
Mm.
Oh, why you always make faces? You stress me out. Anyway, both teams have health issues with their quarterback. We talked about it last time with the appendicitis, which, by the way, it was discovered as it was rupturing, like actively. It had not already ruptured. Okay. And also, since I'm feeling feisty today,
Wait a second. When did I say that it was already ruptured?
You kind of alluded to that in our last podcast. I'm pretty sure you did.
I am not a doctor. I did not allude to anything.
Okay. So I'm feeling feisty today, and I read a quote in a news article that says, "It has been difficult for the quarterback to get his strength back, especially in the core area. He's recovering well, though." I'm sure this was a laparoscopic procedure that they just went in and cleaned it up. Like, the man did not have a C-section. Like, and he's in his 20s. What do we mean it's been difficult for him to get his strength? So irritating. That's an irritating article written about a man by a man.
First of all, let me just throw out there is a huge difference between your experience of having a C-section and a professional athlete having surgery on his core with grown men trying to hit him. Like, there's a huge difference.
No one's trying to hit him yet. He's not even there. He's just putting on his cleats. He's probably having a hard time tying his shoelaces. Like, it was just a very like sissy comment. It got on my nerves.
I can't wait for the comments on this one and the comments on Facebook and everything else, because you are a super hater tonight.
I'm having a hard week. Okay. Anyway, so both teams had health issues, which doesn't really matter because neither coach plays any of their starters in the preseason for these two teams. Bengals are 0-2, Rams are 1-1. LA has some roster spots that they need to figure out. But other than that, I'm just going to take the Bengals simply for redemption.
I can live with that. We did not pick the same team. I'm actually going to go your route. I'm going to pick against my own team. The Cowboys are literally not going to play anyone again. They didn't play anyone against the Chargers. They're not going to play anyone this week. They may not even play Turpin, who had the 2 returns for a touchdown against the Chargers and looks to be electric. Meanwhile, the Seahawks have quarterback questions, so they're likely going to play all their quarterbacks, which means they're going to have a starter in there when the Cowboys aren't even going to play Dak. So I give even though the Seahawks have looked bad, I just give them the advantage because they're probably going to play some actual starters and the Cowboys aren't going to play anybody. So I'll take the Seahawks this week in preparation for when I smoke you in the regular season.
We shall see.
Well, I'll enjoy my shoes, and I'll do like a little fashion show on this podcast at the point that you purchase them for me. So I'll appreciate that.
Can't wait.
And by the way, don't forget, I know we've talked a lot of NFL over these shows, but college is coming. Week 0 starts in a week. So be ready for some college discussion as well, folks. And if you've got questions or topics, please send them in or let us know, and happy to discuss them. And also happy to answer trivia questions, because really feel like Stacy tries to stump me and she just doesn't even win. So my kids were quite happy about my choices for the food and stuff. Drew told me that like I did really well. He told me I did better than you. That's what he said.
Well, the opinion of a 7-year-old is very important. So
look, it's one of the main opinions in my life these days. So
that's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's wrap this puppy up. Thank you all for listening. We are Goal Line Crossers, and this was the 4th edition. So 1st and 4. And we'll be back next week. We'll see how we did on the pick'em. We'll do 2 divisions for the NFC, NFC South and NFC East. Mm-hmm. And we'll look forward to next time. Have a great rest of your week, folks.
Bye, everybody.